Welcome, everyone, to Atlanta Motor Speedway, the Henderson Graphics 400 under the lights tonight here in Hampton, Georgia, just south of Metro Atlanta. 1.5-mile racetrack that has become the hottest ticket in the South for racing. Tonight, 39 drivers going to try to add their name to a list of race winners here at Atlanta Motor Speedway throughout HTL's history in its home playground. It's the Henderson Graphics 400 right here. It's HTL on ABN. We're glad you're with us for what should be a very exciting race here this evening. Qualifying practically concluded. 36 drivers have already set lap times. There's 2 drivers currently setting lap times now. 39 cars, one away from the completely full field like what we saw last week in Charlotte. But it also means no one going home tonight. So everyone has a chance to make a start and make an impact. So we're glad you're with us. Let's get underway here in Atlanta. Your points as they go in here tonight into the Henderson Graphics 400. Those marked in cyan, race winners this season. Very important here in the top 12. You're locked in based on the points. Race wins don't matter if you're in the top 12. They help you out in the postseason, in the playoffs. But if you're top 12, you're set. Mark Kissenweather, points leader right now going into tonight's race ahead of Bren Roberts, Pacey Wygant, Chad Swatsworth, Patrick Oberstadt, your top 5. Should be interesting to see how they play out here tonight. Tucker Sawyer, best driver without a race win so far this season. He's at 6th. Zach Meredith, after winning at Charlotte last Monday, sits 7th in the points, breaking his winless streak. Josh Susie, Stephen Oberstadt, Eli Sasek, your top 10. Jeremy Briel in 11th place ahead of Bailey Thompson. Bailey Thompson sitting out this race tonight with a dislocated knee. We hope she gets better, and we hope to see her back on the racetrack for Pocono next Monday. And her place is Cade McKee, making his 2nd start in HTL history. Thompson on the pit box here tonight. Outside the top number 12, you see things get a little bit more interesting. We talked about this last week at Charlotte. We'll kind of refresh you here. If you're outside the top 16 with a race win, you move into the wild card spots. 13th through 16th, not locked in based on points. Drivers with race wins take precedent. They take the front roll there. Apperson 19th in points with a race win from Talladega would be the first driver to use that wild card. He's the only driver with a race win not in the top 16. Willie Sharp, Cody Pinnell, Byron Jones, among those trying to lead the way to get a race win to lock themselves into the playoffs with time running out. This is race 10 of the regular season. There are 16 races in this regular season, so there's 7 chances now to try to grab a race win. We've not had a lot of repeat winners. Patrick Oberstadt, the only repeat winner this season. That could change here tonight. Davis Moon Jr. on the outside looking in. For a guy that came in after missing the first few races, he's done pretty well for himself. He is 16th in points ahead of Josh Arnold, Matt Borndren, Hunter Peach. Several of those names race winners already in the HTL Cup Series trying to win again this season. Josh Stoltz, some big news here from the Ascent Racing and Joshua Racing camp. 2 driver changes for Joshua Racing going forward to the rest of the season. Josh Stoltz out of the 95. In the 95 goes Brady Smith. Bobby Blowers, who came out as a super sub at Chicago and has raced since, now racing for the rest of the season in the 91 in place of Randy Payne. So those 2 driver changes going to help the team bolster its efforts to try to get cars into the postseason. Josh Stoltz, now his season in HTL is done for the meantime. Blake Henderson, Alfred Denny, Callie Height, tied for 22nd. A very unusual 3-way tie there. Henderson with the best result so far of the season. He's looking for another good result here at home. And then you look at drivers that need race wins here. Dean Clavin, Josh Gaiman, Elias Flores, Dale Markowski, Austin Mongold. These are drivers that desperately need race wins to try to get into the playoffs here Dustin Hall, remember he missed out last week. Christina Ryan filled in and did a great job in the number 1 car. So we'll see how things play out here tonight. But again, we're glad you're with us for the HTL Cup Series Henderson Graphics 400. See the pit lane active. Everyone trying their best efforts at the moment. A little view from high above the spotter cam as you see some of the cars active on the racetrack. Warm-up going on right now. In a couple minutes we will have the full race rundown ready to go. And you see on your screen that's Henderson and Denny, 2 teammates there. And then the 17 of Zach Meredith, winner at Charlotte last Monday. Henderson running a not very often used paint scheme. And it's going to see the fence pretty hard there. Bad bump on the front straightaway, the tri-oval. Sees both him and Denny eat the wall pretty hard. See Meredith going to practice his pit entry. You see the lines there on the apron. Atlanta with the speeds at this track since the reconfiguration back in 2022. You have to say on the apron when you're entering turn 3. It almost acts like Homestead Miami for Champ Car in that respect. So drivers have to handle that. As with Charlotte last Monday. Open setups here. It's not going to have as much of a setting here in Atlanta as Charlotte or as Pocono will have next week. But the small details, the minutia of the setups will be different between teams. And obviously we've seen in practice how different that is, how much of a difference that makes. So we'll see how this plays out. Caitlin Height getting on the racetrack here in the 61, filling in for Josh Gaiman. Caitlin and Callie Height both will be teammates here tonight. So let's go ahead and get into the starting lineup here tonight. The starting grid, 39 cars, 20 rows in total. It is Pacey Wygant leading the way over Dustin Hall. One of Ford's best qualifying efforts this season. Dustin Hall keeps Ford on the front row here. Great job for him on his return to the HTL Cup Series after a 1-week vacation. Row 2, Bren Roberts and Chris Fleming. Chris Fleming, his best qualifying effort in HTL so far. He qualifies row 2 alongside Bren Roberts. Bren Roberts, a former winner here in Atlanta. Olivia Pereira, Caitlin Height in row number 3. Gonna be excited to see how this all plays out. Caitlin Height, remember, failed to qualify as an independent entry last Monday for the first time in her career. Back to normal in the 61 car for Josh Gaiman tonight. Josh Susi, former 2-time champion alongside Ross Baxter here tonight. Riley Garcia and Dale Markowski make up your top 10. Garcia able to make the field here. Hunter Peach, another driver who's won a race here in Atlanta. He's alongside David Field Jr., teammates in row 6 for NF2 Motorsports. Cody Pinnell and Blake Henderson, the 8 and the 25, they make up row number 7. Both of them, this is their home race. Cody from Good Hope, Blake Henderson from Atlanta itself. Zach Apperson and Brady Smith make up row number 8. Remember Brady Smith in the 95 the rest of the season. He fills in row 8. Kyle Taub and Zach Meredith in row 9. Meredith, a race winner this season so far. Would love to go back-to-back, but it's going to be hard sledding from 18. Mark Kissenweather, Caden McKee. We talked about McKee filling in for Thompson with that dislocated knee. He starts in 20th alongside Kissenweather, your points leader. Angel Santiago and Alfred Denny in row 11 outside the top 20. Josh Arnold and Chad Swatsworth make up row number 12. The Militia Racing crew not having a fun time here in qualifying. All four of them really near the back of the field except for Kyle Taub. Callie Height, Patrick Oberstadt in row 13. Caitlin Height's speed is not carried over to Callie Height. Callie Height qualified pretty poorly in 25th. Same with Patrick Oberstadt, who is looking for better here tonight. Bobby Blowers, Jimmy Braille in row 14. Blowers in the 91 now, once again full-time. Looking for a chance at a race win, one that was desperately missed at Chicago just 2 weeks ago. Tucker Sawyer, John Smeal in row 15. John Smeal filling in for Kevin Feemster, his first appearance of the season here in Atlanta. Outside the top 30, it's Richard Odie. He also missed last week at Charlotte, here this time in row 16 alongside Lily Sharp, who finished on the podium in Charlotte last Monday. Elias Flores, Eli Sasek gets the ascent, row 17. They qualified so well at Charlotte and fell apart in the race. Can the opposite be true tonight? We'll find out. They're in row 17 together. KJ Gibney, Chelsea Carter, row 18 for them. Row 19, Dean Clavitt and Byron Jones. Last but not least, row 20, on his own, Gary Donaldson, the only driver that did not set a qualifying time here in Atlanta, and that was deliberate. He's expecting chaos, and he's trying to avoid being in it. And that'll make your 39-car field for the Henderson Graphics 400. We're glad you're with us for what should be a very fun night of racing. 39 cars, 7 races to go before the playoffs. This is the land of the underdog. The green flag flies. The Henderson Graphics 400 is underway. Two laps already in the books here in Atlanta. Bren Roberts and Pacey Wygant exchanging blows at the front of the field, 2 by 2. Going through turns 3 and 4. Pretty good stuff so far here as Bren Roberts led that lap over Wygant. Carrera on the bottom behind the number 3, and Wygant in trouble early. Big one on the backstretch. From the front of the field all the way through. Huge crash on the back straightaway. Dustin Hall turned by Pereira. Sorry, Dustin Hall turned by Pacey Wygant, who got turned by Pereira, excuse me. A lot of fast repairs being used immediately here in the first stage on lap number 4. The caution comes out for a crash that on the first head count collected almost half of this 40-car field. Turn the inside of the back straightaway into a parking lot. take a look at exactly what happened. Just a moment. So this is a good look at what happened up above. Pereira just drifts wide, clips Pacey Wygen teammates there. Everyone tries saving it. Dustin bounces off Hunter Peach back into Pacey Wygen there, and you see the track blockage as it appears. Looks like David Smith Jr. gets a little bit lucky there in the 54. Cars all over the place in the fence. That's Caitlin Height in the fence. Blake Henderson, Cody Pennell, Zach Meredith, Zach Apperson, Kyle Taub, Willie Sharp. A lot of cars on the back straightaway involved in this early accident on lap 4. I want to get on board with Callie Height here for a second. Riding on board. A little bit of contact on the way through that for Callie Height. Good look here, Gary Donaldson. He was trying to get out of that issue there, but unfortunately got caught up in it. Focus on Josh Arnold here. Arnold does a decent job, just can't slow down all the way to avoid hitting Chris Fleming. This is on board with Olivia Pereira. As it happens, just drifts out a little bit wide and triggers that accident. Everyone trying to get themselves in position for this restart now. Lights out on the pace cars, means we're getting ready to go back racing. This is a plate track, so stage breaks are in order. Lap 45 and lap 90 are the stage breaks here tonight. So we're ready to go back racing. It will be Bryn Roberts and Olivia Pereira front of the field. Green flag flies, and away we go. Teammates on the outside lane, Roberts and Markowski. Pereira trying to stand alone in that conversation. "17 cars in total involved in the lap 4 crash. Over a dozen having to use their fast repair. Roberts could not get Markowski to come with him. So Roberts looked to cover off Olivia Pereira and did so effectively. Remember, stage break on lap 45 unless a caution comes out between lap 41 and 45. Pereira got shuffled up by Josh Susi. Brady Smith in third now. Pereira shuffled to the outside lane, far outside lane at this point. And away we go. Lap 10 in the books of 167. Jordan Roberts' first win last season came right here in Atlanta. He would love to go back-to-back here in the state of Georgia. Josh Cece would also like a race win. Very reminiscent to last season where it felt like it took him a little bit to fire up. This is his bread and butter. Unfortunately involved in accidents last week at Charlotte that took him out of contention. But the pace has been there in the 24. Obviously it has been. He's top 10 in points. But without a race win, Susie feels like an emperor without a crown. Top of the mountain's gotten a little bit crowded, though, in HTL competition. But Roberts joining in definitely flipped things around a little bit. Brady Smith feeling comfortable. Showed a little bit of his finesse on Wednesday last week, winning the one race of the season opener in the ABN Champ Car Challenger Series. Been a part-time driver for the most part of this season until now. Now he's in a full-time ride in the 95 car. And as the paint scheme on that 95 car shows, he's pretty ice cool under the helmet, sitting third ahead of Hunter Peach. Blake Henderson, despite being involved in that incident on lap 4, did not come down pit lane and is in the top 5 at the moment. Cade McKee has moved his way up to the 6th spot. Bobby Blauer is also in the top 10. He's moved forward. He is in 7th. And Riley Garcia, Ross Baxter, and then Patrick Oberstadt right now currently in your top 10. Patrick Oberstadt trying to lead the outside lane forward. See how much support they get there. Lap traffic for the first time tonight. Coming up for the leaders. A couple cars going a lap down here. This is Lily Sharp about to go a lap down. Jordan Roberts holding the inside lane. They're drifting a little bit here. Tire wear will be a factor more than it is at Daytona and Talladega because of how short this racetrack is compared to those two. It's an entire mile shorter. And caution's out. And it is Santiago. Santiago, wrong way around here in Atlanta. That saves Lily Sharp and gives Pacey Wygant the free pass. Santiago gets turned back around here. And spins again, trying to get the car back rolling. And now he's going to be stuck a lap down, trying to gun it. Let's take a look as to why Santiago spun around here. This is on board with Santiago. Looks like he just gets loose and may have gotten a little help. That's near the back of the field. Bounced off of Dustin Hall, who was on the inside of him. He just tries to gun it up and misses on that one. Let's take a look from the blimp here in Atlanta. I'll actually take a look from the chopper cam. I mean, it looks like we missed part of that there. Let's go back and take it from the top here. Looks like he's trying to get around Wygant here. Wygant lets him go through. And he just gets loose. He just gets arrow loose. As soon as he chops in front of Wygant, he just gets loose. He tries saving it. Wygant's not sure what's going on. And throws the 90 into the fence. Donaldson gets through there. Look at it at speed. Fortunately, rough times there for Angel Santiago. See him back out running at this point. "39 cars, all of them technically still running in this race. Second caution of the night for an incident between Angel Santiago and Pacey Wygant. With that being the case, Wygant does not get the free pass. Instead, it goes to John Smeal. John Smeal, the first car a lap down without being involved in the incident, gets the free pass. It keeps Santiago and Wygant a lap down. Kyle Taub also a lap down at this point. Elias Flores still needing work done on that 99 car, trying to avoid using the fascia pair. As lap cars come down pit lane. Lights come out on the pace cars, which means it's one lap to green. We showed you some of the information about the racetrack here in Atlanta and the history for HTL. Here's a look at the upcoming schedule for the HTL Cup Series. This goes all the way to the end of December. Pocono, Kentucky, Sebring, Bristol, and then the Firecracker 400 in Daytona to end off the regular season here in HTL's 7th season of the Cup Series. All those races will be right here on ABN. Pocono open setup, Kentucky open setup as well. Drivers will have the ultimate control under their hands here. Again, 1.5 miles here in Atlanta. 28 degrees of banking in the corners. It is the highest banked 1.5 mile oval on the calendar. And again, we're still racing to lap 45. That's the stage 1 break here in Atlanta for the Henderson Graphics 400. Bren Roberts, Josh Susie, the front row here. Second restart of the night. Green flag flies, and away we go. Getting up to speed here in Atlanta. Bren Roberts, Brady Smith, and Blake Henderson all got ahead of Josh Susie there. A little bit of a checkup throws Jeremy Braille to the outside. Not a lot of support, though, for the 74. That's Hunter Peach behind him and Cody Pinnell. Sorry, Riley Garcia. There's 2 all-black cars in the field. Riley Garcia in the 40 and Cody Pinnell in the 8. Leads the way. He's led the lion's share of the laps in this race. Pacey Wygant led 2 laps, but Roberts leads the other 21 so far. single file here for the most part. That was Markowski going to the bottom of the racetrack. I believe trying to get around teammate Ross Baxter, and indeed that was the case. Remember, this is a plate track, so the out-of-bounds rule does apply. Similar to Daytona and Talladega, you cannot go below the double white line, marking the out-of-bounds area, separating the racetrack from the apron. You can touch it. That's what Caitlin Height's doing in the 61. That Hunter Orange 61 car. You can touch it, you just can't put wheels below it to try to make passes. I'm sure with it being teammates, I'm not sure it's going to matter a whole lot. Typically, teammates don't report each other. But Baxter, I'm pretty sure, not appreciative of being thrown to the outside lane when it's not worked so far in this race. And it's not expected to work a lot here. For those that haven't had a chance to sort of see, early on here, it's going to be very single file lane. It's going to take some time for the tires to wear, and you're going to see a lot more of that pop up later on in a run. However, because we haven't had that chance to see a full run, we haven't had a chance to really see that style of racing develop, which is why the outside lane just isn't pulling at all at the moment. Outside lane better for tire wear, but it's not the fastest way around. That's the inside of the racetrack, shortest way around there, that white line. The outside lane works best when the inside lane checks up. Ross Baxter leading the outside lane. I'd say committing a cardinal sin. You really want to tuck up and side draft. If you're trying to really seriously move forward, you want to try to side draft a little bit. You don't want to give the inside lane all the space to move. You want to kind of confine them. You want to take the run away from them. Baxter a little bit more timid while trying to also lead the outside lane. See him get a little lower there, but he still rides really high up through 3 and 4. Seems like he's a better car in 1 and 2. I feel like wind speed's got to be a factor here. Car going a lap down. That is Santiago. Going another lap down. Navigating the lap car pretty well. Car go below white yellow line, below the white line. Everyone gives space to get him back on the racetrack. Looked like they were trying to avoid a 4 wide situation, which was the smart move. "39 cars qualified, 39 cars on the racetrack at the moment. 4 cars a lap down, 35 on the lead lap at the moment. Santiago 2 laps down along with Elias Flores. Pacey Wagner and Kyle Talbot 1 lap down each. Ross Baxter's made his way into the top 10. That outside lane beginning to move forward. Here comes Henderson, getting around Brady Smith. Smith got shuffled out. It is now Henderson behind Roberts and ahead of Josh Susie, your top 3. Oberstadt and McKee, your top 5. Markowski, Caitlin Height, Alfred Denny, Brady Smith, and then Callie Height make up your top 10. Again, inside lane, still single file through most of the top 10 at the moment. Ross Baxter lost support pretty quickly. Got held up there by Brady Smith, and now trying to move back forward once again. Trouble, Markowski. Up in the fence, clips Brady Smith. It was avoided for the most part, not completely. Markowski got some help on his way around there out of turn number 4. Draws a 3rd caution out tonight. So let's take a look here from good old chopper cam for Dale Markowski. Good old chopper cam for the 33 car. Looks like we're a little late on this. Let's see if we can grab a better look. Does he get help? Yeah, 100% he does. Caitlin Height. All right, better look here. Markowski. He drifts up the racetrack. Looks like he's plowing tight there, which is possible. Open setups. Don't know what everyone's running. Seems like he plows a little bit tight. Caitlin Ike looks to fill the gap. Markowski tries to close the door. And saves it once. Can't save it the second time from Alfred Denny tagging him. And you see where Brady Smith gets tagged in all of this. It's just the smallest of taps there for Brady Smith. Markowski avoids getting hit again. Very close there for Tucker Sawyer, the 97. Flowers, the 91. Sees his teammate get spun around there, tries to avoid him. Not so lucky there. Believe that is, it looks like the 54. It looks like if David Smith Jr., that's what it looks like. Does he get hit again? Just a little bit by Josh Arnold, the 12. So a little bit of damage to the pair. The third caution of the night. See Markowski on pit lane getting some work done. Several cars on pit lane at this point in time. Brendan Roberts, your race leader so far still. He's led 34 of 36 laps so far tonight. Casey Wygant, the lone other race leader here in Atlanta through the first portion of this race. Remember, stage break-ins on lap 45. Unless a caution comes out before then. It's going to be a sprint to the end of stage one at this moment. See how it all plays out. Approaching lap 38 of 167 here in Atlanta. Roberts leads Henderson, Josh Susie, Patrick Oberstadt, Caden McKee, and Alfred Denny. Your top six. Callie Height, top eight, alongside Caitlin Height. So it's an all Height, row four. Ross Baxter and Bobby Flowers make up row five. Ready to go. Back racing here in Atlanta. Green flag flies, and away we go. Teammates on the outside lane working together, and they get clear. Pretty telegraphed. No one fought it, though, which is very interesting. Because we know how difficult it has been to pass on the inside lane. It's very difficult to pass up at the front of the field. Seems like people are pretty content at the top of the board, at least, to not rock the boat too awful much. see how that plays out. Outside lane immediately just sank. They just fell back. Everyone that was not the top 2 rows just kind of fell backwards pretty quickly there. Car spun around backwards. That's further on in the pack. Caution's out. I'm not sure who that was. It looked like Pacey Wygen. It is not Pacey Wygen. Not really sure who that was. It might be Dustin Hall? What damage on the nose of that car? I'm not sure who it was on the back straightaway. Let's take a look. Was it the one on Dustin Hall? No, it was not. Try to see who it was that got spun. Oh, Willie Sharp. Exactly who it was. Willie Sharp and Chelsea Carter. Let's take a better look. This is Willie Sharp, middle 3. That's a little bit of just contending real estate there. Chelsea Carter trying to follow Cody Pennell through. Willie Sharp trying to shut the door because for a moment there was enough space for it to happen, just reacting a little too late in regards to that. And neither hit the inside wall. Fair play. Fair play there. Third caution of the night, though, comes out in response. And everyone keeps it pretty well contained. Now, we did not get to lap 41 before that caution came out. We were on our way to it. So, by regulation, this is not the stage break. Unless someone gives clarification on that, we're going to have a genuine sprint to the stage break. And that's going to make things interesting because the teammates that tried to game the system and did so successfully last restart, for this one, won't have quite the same fortunes. Someone's going to have to lose on this situation. File looks like we are going green at the end of this lap. We're going to have a green-white checkered in the stage. For everyone tuning in, we appreciate you spending your Monday evening with us here on ABN for the HTL Cup Series Henderson Graphics 400. Scores right at the bottom of your screen of the sports playing here tonight. Pretty slim pickings. You got NHL action going on right now. Monday Night Football obviously going on as well. The Cowboys and the Raiders. Raiders have the ball. Cowboys lead 10-6 right now in Monday Night Football. Pretty slow action the last couple Mondays. Glad you're spending your time with us as well. We also have basketball, NBA action as well tonight. Excitement here for us on ABN. A lot of soccer fans for us here on the ABN side. MLS will move to a fall to spring calendar beginning in 2027. So we'll have a lot more sporting going on in a couple of years after the World Cup is out of the way. So some excitement there. Also, excitement for Carolina Beagle Racing. They are leading right now, first and second. And the caution has been extended, which makes me believe that this is now the stage break. Typically, we don't do one-lap sprints to the finish on these stages. So I'm curious to see how this is going to play out. 36 cars on lead lap. John Smill, the only car, 1 lap down. Elias Flores and Angel Santiago, 2 laps down each. I haven't had any communication from HTL officials indicating if this is the stage break or not. So we'll find out. Stage 1 ends on lap 45. We'll pull that information up on your screen, bottom left. Lap 45 was the scheduled end of stage 1. Lap 90 is the scheduled end of stage 2. If we get a caution in a lap, we'll know the answer. If we race through lap 45 to lap 46 and company, then we know that this was a stage break. Roberts, Patrick Oberstadt, Josh Susie, Blake Henderson, your top 4. Caden McKee, top 5 alongside Caitlin Height. And then it's Tucker Sawyer and Hunter Peach, Jeremy Brett and Chad Swatsworth, your top 10. As we come to lap 45 here in Atlanta. Green flag flies, and away we go. In the outside lane, already moving. The inside lane didn't get going at all, and that was by design. But Roberts got right there in front of his teammate. Got everyone going. Left Josh Susie in the mud on the outside. Alongside Caitlin Height. It looks like we are racing to the end of stage number 1. Henderson typically would not have made that move to the outside lane. Did this time. And that is the end of the stage. So it was a 1-lap shootout to the end of the stage. And that'll be our 5th caution tonight. Checking up for the pace car. And they're going to make their way into the pit lane now. A lot for the first time tonight. With that, we will step aside for a moment and get the reset out of the way for stage number 1. Stage 2 begins, and we'll go to lap 90 here in Atlanta. Pit stops underway. Everyone on different strategy calls at this point here in Atlanta. Zach Meredith, Byron Jones, Lily Sharp. They last pit on lap 35. Dean Clavitt in company, pit on lap 41. Bren Roberts in 11th place for this upcoming restart, pitting on lap 46. So some staggered running here. John Smeal back on the racetrack. He is on the lead lap now with that stage with the stage break being the fifth caution of the night. Very interesting stuff here. Teammates on the front row here as well with Meredith and Jones. So a different set of teammates at the front of the field for the first time tonight, with Bryn Roberts surrendering the race lead. Lights go out in the pace car. Means we're going green at the end of this lap. Meredith, Jones, Clavitt, Sharp, Odie, and Arnold, your top six coming up here. Go Back Racing, fifth restart of the night. Start stage 2. And the green flag flies away we go. Coast to coast leads us to the restart. And just like with Carolina Beagle Racing, gets it pretty well figured out here. Odie, very smart. The door was open in 6th place behind Josh Arnold, and he took it. Really good move there. Everyone on the hard reset with the pit stops there. Everyone's made a pit stop, at least one, in this race. Teammates lead the way. Coast to Coast Racing, in this case, leading the way now after Carolina Beagle dominated stage 1. Outside lane trying to move forward. That is Odie in the 78 with some support. That is Odie and Wygent at the front of the field on the outside lane. Trying to get around some cars on the inside lane. That is Sharp next in line to be passed. Sharp was trying to crowd Odie up the racetrack. It did not work. Odie now up to 4th. 78 feeling comfortable here. Clear of the 19. Is the outside lane beginning to prevail? Here's the moment of truth. They have not been this far up the racetrack since the restarts. A little bit of side drafting going on as well out of turn 4. It is working out pretty well. Odie's gotten alongside the 81 of Clavitt. Top two trying to stay ahead, but Richard Odie leading the charge, and here comes Clavitt to the inside of Byron Jones. And it's going to be 3 wide in a hurry. And Clavitt's going to give it up. And here comes Wygen. He goes to the inside lane. 3 wide. Meredith goes to the middle. I don't think he intended to be in the middle. Richard Odie leads a lap. On lap 55, Odie leads a lap for the first time in the Cup Series under green. And for the first time under green in HTL since the National Series race at Chicago, where he won almost 2 years ago. He led a lap and immediately got goose-egged by the rest of the field the following lap. But he got to lead a lap there. In a very sketchy situation, he has bowed himself out of that conversation. He got a lap led. But now we know the outside lane is moving. That outside lane is awake to the sound of thunder, trouble. Byron Jones. Green flag stays out. Byron Jones off the racing surface, but in trouble. It looks like a straight shot to pit lane is what's happening for Byron Jones. In contact with the inside wall. Meanwhile, the race continues on. Wygen outside lane, Meredith inside lane. And everything up for grabs now. Wygen leads the second lap. Racing in motion. Byron Jones used fast repair to get back out without losing too awful much more time. Door to door, front of the field, all the way back. Both lanes wide awake. Byron Jones loose out of the pit exit. You saw him slide there, blocked the brakes up, didn't hit anything, but goes a second lap down. He was trying to put the power down to rejoin this pack and stay in the draft. And that obviously did not come to fruition. Patrick Oberstadt slides his way in front. Brendan Roberts followed suit. And get themselves to the front of the field. Here comes Wygen, 3 wide. Sharp to the inside, Wygen to the outside. Biggest loser in that is the 71. That is John Smeal going a lap down again. Single file beginning to play out a little bit more. Top two make that top three broken free. That is Roberts, Sharp, and Arnold. Davis Mills Jr. in fourth on the inside lane, also trying to break free. Inside lane, still the preferred lane to be in, but the outside lane's got some arms. And they're climbing. Wygent, huge part of the success of the outside lane when it was led by Richard Odie. Now trying to lead success with support from Patrick Overstapp. Also in line there is the 23 of Chelsea Carter. Three wide, the further back you go. Three wide's not going to help the outside lane at all. In fact, it'll hurt it a little bit more. Everyone jockeying for position. And it has fractured that outside lane. Only a handful of cars in that lane. Sharp goes to the outside, as does Davis Muir Jr. So NFG Motorsport cars have moved to the top side. And they're going to have a little bit of an advantage compared to the non-teammates on the inside lane of Roberts and Arnold. Sharp looking for a lap lead here. Is Sharp going to get it? The answer to that question is yes. Sharp leads a lap here in Atlanta. Teammates outside lane for NFG. Toyota's 1, 2, and 3 on the outside lane. This is a team that looked competitive at Charlotte. Qualified well here tonight. And showing they've got some pace in the race as well. Josh Susi right now just outside the top 10 and 12. Watching his teammates go for the race lead and clear first and second. And here they go. See Byron Jones lost the draft and going another lap down here, outside lane. They'll get around him without too much issue. Casey Wygent once again finds himself leading the outside lane, trying to make his way back to the front. NFG got what they wanted. They got the track position game. Unfortunately, Wygent's in the position of being the bridesmaid here, and you see why. There is Brent Roberts trying to read the momentum on the outside lane. He's trying to jump up there to get back to the race lead. Caution's out. We won't get there. Eli Sasek will be part of the reason why. Inside lane there. Looks like multiple cars involved. Callie Height looks to be involved in this as well. It looked like that might have been Kyle Taub involved. Looks like that's 21 Alfred Denny also involved here. Olivia Pereira, Chad Swatsworth. Several cars involved here. 6th caution of the night. One of the longest runs of the night. Going over 20 laps. And we'll take a look as to what happened here. Eli was the first one around, it looks like. And we'll take a look. Here's a look. Looking at Eli Sasek, the 9 car. I would hazard a guess it's not actually the 9 car that goes around first. It's not. That's Alfred Denny and Callie Height getting together. And Swatsworth's the first one around. Clobber's the 87. And Sasek tries to avoid. It looks like he gets touched there by Cody Pinnell and gets loose off of that. Comes down the racetrack, and this is where Alfred Denny, I think, almost got hit there. That's the 81 of Clavitt. Goes down below the apron. And Sasek, for the most part, keeps it pretty well straight and covered. Those around him, though, not so fortunate. We'll take a look here. Let's ride on board with Callie Height if we can. A little bit of contact there with the 21. A whole lot that can be done there at that point. Callie just trying to get that car down the racetrack as safely as possible. You see the damage. You can hear the damage on the 87 car as well. It's not a great time for Callie Height. And that's practically day done. We will grab another onboard here of Eli Sasek. He's behind it all. He sees it all pretty well materialize. He goes down below the white line. Almost clips the 21. You see Alfred Denny. Alfred Denny just spins it on his own, trying to get back on the racetrack. Alfred Denny. A little bit of contact there. First for Sad Slotsworth there. Head on directly into the wall there. And into Cali Height. And see Alfred Denny gears it up on the transitional lane from the pit entry to the racetrack, and around he goes. So we are getting ready to go racing once again. Your top 5, bottom of your screen. Sharp, Smeal, Wygant, Roberts, Oberstadt. Sixth restart of the night coming up. Cali Height used the fast repair. Get back on the racetrack here, but will be a full 2 laps down, it looks like. Same with Elias Flores. A lot of cars 2 laps down. Flores, Cali Height, John Spiel, and Santiago all 3 laps down. Terry Donaldson in pit lane over 6 laps down now at this point. Byron Jones 3 laps down as things sit. Teammates at the front of the field to the restart zone. Away we go. And not a coordinated restart for the teammates. Wygant gets clear. That's unfortunately, I think, going to make some pretty interesting sitting ducks. Because Lily Sharp's not going to have support. Not a lot of friends for the 19 car over the years. You rely on your teammates first, and unfortunately, not a lot of coordination there from teammate to teammate. And that's going to allow Pacey Wygant to get to the front of the field without really having to fight for it too awful hard. Side draft, get up there and get through. And now he's got his choice of lane. Thought about moving to the outside lane to cover off Patrick Oberstadt. Outside lane just didn't have the momentum to keep him forward. A little bit of a check up there. Roberts got really sideways there from Josh Susie. He was trying to check up. And that's going to really alter the outside lane in a big way into turn 1. Everyone saved it, though, so we stay green. Remember, stage 2 ends lap 90. Coming to 15 laps to go in the stage. And caution's out again. Further back in the running order, I believe this is going to be on the hands of Byron Jones, who's around backwards. There he is. That is at the start-finish line. Second time being sent around. What happened to poor Byron Jones to bring out the 7th caution tonight? He gets help. Couldn't get a good look as to who that was that gave him help. But did get a good look as to his onboard there. Let's take a look. That is going to be Dale Markowski. Gives him the lightest of shots. but it's enough to send the 60 around. His teammate Santiago watching it all happen in front of him. Pretty hard impact there on the left rear of that car against the safety barrier. So 7th caution tonight comes out. Byron Jones split off the nose of Dale Markowski. Casey Wygant leads the way here tonight. 7th caution of the night, taking it from Lily Sharp on that last restart. Less than 15 to go in stage number 2. Lily Sharp sitting in 2nd place at the moment. So this race in 32nd place. Currently our biggest mover as things sit. Kaylin Height up to 3rd as things run. You see free pass going to Callie Height. Now only 1 lap down in this exchange. David Smith Jr. from 12th to 4th. Kate McKee from 20th to 5th. And you have Patrick Oberstadt 26th to 6th. Ben Roberts qualified 3rd, sitting in 7th at the moment, but chipping his way back forward. He's led the most laps so far today. Like to get back to the front of the field and try to go back-to-back at the place where he got his first HTL Cup Series win last season. Zach Apperson having a good day, backing up his performance from Talladega from 15th to 8th. Blake Henderson, home racetrack for him. Him and Cody Pennell both. From 14th to 9th so far for Henderson. Jeremy Brault from 28th to 10th ahead of Chelsea Carter. Started this race in the 36th position. Hunter Beach, approximately where he started. Started 11th. He's sitting 12th at the moment. Raleigh Garcia dropped his few spots from 9th to 13th. Brady Smith up 2 spots. His first race being officially full-time. He is in 14th from 16th on the grid. Mark Kissenweather has also not been able to move very heavily forward. He's only moved up 4 spots from 19th to 15th. Zach Meredith, he's been all over the racetrack in the 17 car tonight. He'll be 16th on the restart. Cars coming out pit lane early, including Dean Clavitt, Kyle Taub, Richard Odie, Alfred Denny, Josh Stussy, Olivia Pereira, Shad Swatsworth, and Dale Markowski. Callie Height, 1 lap down, is now the first car in line for the free pass to get back on lead lap. Dustin Hall on pit lane still, in danger of going more than a lap down. Will not be able to really contest that with Callie Height. Dustin Hall coming out of pit lane right now. But you see the damage on that one car. It's not a great look for Dustin Hall tonight, who is looking really good. Qualified front row. And now sitting down in 34th after a rough start here in Atlanta. Wygant, Sharp, Spiel, Height, your top 4. As we get ready for the 7th restart tonight. Green flag flies away we go. That was a very scuffed restart. Kaylin Height gets around to Lily Sharp. But a very scuffed restart there. And they reel Wygant right back in immediately. Spiel on the outside lane, trying to lead himself to the front of the field. Kaylin Height driving with further. Oh, trouble! Huge crash! Huge crash! Oh my goodness. Huge crash. cars up and over. A huge crash with less than 10 to go in stage 2. One of the hardest hits we've seen in this next-gen car in quite some time, entering turn 1. We do believe that it was Josh Arnold that we saw take the hardest hit entering turn 1. There's Dustin Hall. Callie Height will take the free pass, I do believe. A huge hit. And we'll take a look here. Someone takes a hard shot. And we're not sure who it is. Is it Garcia? No, it is Josh Arnold. Garcia's the first one to get turned. Josh Arnold's the one that goes for the wildest ride. Bounces off of Cody Pennell. Up and over several times is the 12. We have not had a crash like that violent, in quite some time in this series. That was violent. Ooh. That is a aggressive hit, and you see the hits just keep coming. A lot of damage there. Riding on board with Josh Arnold. Somehow the camera didn't get destroyed in that. Easily could have. Running on board with Callie Height, who got back on the lead lap from this. Avoids all of it. Really good stuff there for Callie Height. Saw the window open and shot through. What about Josh Susie? Right on board with him. Oof, that's scary to see at the windshield. Flying car going in all kinds of directions that are not on the racetrack. And Susie got a little bit of impact from it. As we get ready to go back racing from one of the wildest crashes all season. It is Pacey Wygen and Caitlin Height at the front of the field. An enormous crash, which effectively takes Josh Arnold out of the running. That was an aggressive crash. Wygen Height will try to right the ship on our way to stage number 2, our 8th restart of the night. Lily Sharp, Davis Miller Jr., 3rd and 4th. Patrick Oberstadt, Caden McKee, 5th and 6th. Green flag flies, away we go. A lot cleaner restart that time around. We'll see how it plays out side by side. Height and Wygen. Caitlin Hyde, her stats pretty well explain themselves. 17 wins, looking for an 18th to extend her lead as the winningest driver in the series. Casey Wygant looking for his 4th career win, his 2nd this season. He's trying to join Patrick Oberstadt with being the only driver with more than 1 win. We'll see what he can do here. Attrition beginning to set in as the sun sets here in Atlanta. Still side by side, Height and Wygant at the front of the field. Wygant losing some steam as the outside lane begins to prevail. Wygant gets back to the outside lane after Height got clear. But unfortunately, now Wygant has no support. Davis Booth Jr. going to pick his former teammate to give support over Wygant. Racing to the end of the stage. Lap 90, the end of stage number 2. White flag in stage number 2. Caitlin Height leads the way. Davis Booth Jr. in 2nd. But it's a tight fight in the top 5 and throughout the top 10 to get to the end of the stage. It was a 1-lap dash to the end of stage 1. Likewise, we will race to the end of stage 2. Caitlin Height wins stage number 2. First stage win of the season. Davis Booth Jr. rounds out your top 10, and there's trouble behind. And that is the 2 of Mark Kissenweather. After the caution flies, Kissenweather gets spun. Not hard to sure what happened there with Mark Kissenweather, but the stage is over. And we will get to stage 2. We'll get to stage 3 successfully. Let's take a look. Mark Kissenweather, right on board with him, coming to the end of stage 2. What happened to him? I think he gets, it's his teammate. It's his teammate that gets spun. It's Chad Swatsworth. Kissenweather just the one that came to a stop from it. What happened to Swatsworth? See if we can get a better look at this. Swatsworth. Swatsworth, and then I'm not sure who's behind him. Oh, Chris Fleming. 18 is the one that spins him around, and he tags Tucker Sawyer. Ooh, not great there. Okay, but now gets a piece of it as well. Swatsworth's going to be very frustrated by that. Car's coming out of pit lane. With that, we'll step aside for our last stage break here in Atlanta. Some more racing to go. 9th caution of the night, the stage break here for the Henderson Graphics 400. Some cars taking a gamble. Kyle Tao, Alfred Denny, Callie Height stay out. Everyone else down pit lane to get this stage reset underway. Get ready to go back racing here in the Henderson Graphics 400 Stage 3 beginning on this restart. Here in Atlanta, 2 stages down. Over 90 laps in the books. We're on lap 94, coming to lap 95 here in Atlanta. Glad you're with us for the HTL Cup Series. Henderson Graphics 400. Your top 10 on your screen. Kyle Taub will lead the field of green alongside Alfred Denny. Callie Height and Kalen Height make up row number 2. As we get ready to go racing once again here in Atlanta. The stages are out of the way. It's a sprint to the finish from here. Inside lane has been the talk of the story. The outside lane growing some arms, beginning to climb. We saw that in stage 2. As the sun continues to set and the track continues to cool, how much more does that evolve in favor of the outside lane, if at all? We'll find out. We'll open up stage 3 the best way possible. Let's crank it up as the green flag flies. Caution out for the 10th time tonight. As we're riding on board with local drivers Blake Henderson and Cody Pinnell. I'm going to gather a look here. Looks like John Smeal, the source of your 10th caution tonight. As the field comes to a slow stop on the back straightaway. Let's take a look as to what happened to John Smeal. Out of turn 2. Looks like he gets loose. Mill 3. Widen to the outside. Tucker Sawyer to the inside. Off the nose of Susie he goes. And he's going to take a pretty hard lick, I'm assuming, to the inside lane. To the inside wall there. Yeah. Yeah, that'll do it. Piece of run pretty well. Not great for John Smeal. So our 10th caution tonight. John Smeal getting loose and spinning off the nose pace of Josh Susie. Does give us the race lead of Patrick Oberstadt over Bren Roberts. Carolina Beagle have gotten back to the front of the field as a result. Less than 67 laps to go here in Atlanta. Get ready for the 10th restart here tonight. We have 32 cars on the lead lap, all the way down to Alfred Denny. Zach Meredith, the first car, a lap down. Same with Josh Arnold, a lap down as well. 2 laps down for Elias Flores. 4 laps down, John Smeal. And we have 3 official retirements in this race. Sancho Santiago, Byron Jones, and Gary Donaldson. So 36 cars left running at this point in the race. Josh Arnold, to his credit, despite the horrible crash in stage 2, back on the lead lap. Sorry, no. I misspoke. He is 2 laps down. But he is running. He is on the racetrack at this moment. There's Elias Flores. There's Josh Arnold at the back of the field, ready for this restart. Not out of it yet is the Mississippi native. It will be the Carolina Beagle teammates at the front of the field once again. Oberstadt and Roberts. Gonna put on a show here in Atlanta. The lights have come on. It's time for the sparks to fly. 64 laps to go. And Jeremy Braille stayed right there in tune with Patrick Oberstadt, prevented the teammates from linking up together. Now the best that Bren Roberts can hope for right now is 3rd. There's Dean Clavitt in 4th. Kyle Taub, top 5. The best rookie at the moment is Cade McKee. His second start, his first on an oval in HTL. Filling in for Bailey Thompson. Outside lane moving. There's the 20 at Hunter Peach. Car in the fence. Caution's out. And it is further back in the running order Pretty big kerfuffle here. Willie Sharp involved. Looks like Alfredini involved. Elias Flores. Looks like Josh Arnold got a piece of it. And number 12. Olivia Pereira looks like in some pretty massive trouble. And Pacey Wygent's day effectively done in this exchange. Let's take a look from the spotter cam. Wygent clears in front of the 19 of Sharp, gives a shove to Tucker Sawyer, and the accordion's going to start there. Wygent's trying to slot into a hole just barely big enough, and no one adjusts for it. Huge shot for Wygent. That does practically end his day. Same happens for Pereira there. You see the damage on the 96 car. Markowski gets spun around. Dustin Hall gets a piece of it again. Odie gets a piece of it. Josh Susi, not completely clean of this, I don't believe. He does. He splits the C. Becomes Moses there as he gets through without a scratch. Great job for him. That's right on board Lily Sharp. Wygent tries clearing in. Not a lot of space to do so. Bit of contact there with Dustin Hall there at the end. See Alfredini with the spin. Of course, the hardest part is going to be with Pacey Wygent here. And I want to back it up here. We're going to actually rewind and get down the back straightaway. Kind of get a good look as to what he's looking at here. Door opens, he slots in. You get the engine let go there. Happens really quick. An aggressive move that no one gives space for that far back. And unfortunately, it takes out a couple teammates as well. Do one more onboard here. See if we can ride on board with Olivia Pereira. There we go. On board the 96. It was looking good up until that point. Had clean real estate at the top lane. And it closed pretty quickly. Pereira will drop back here near the back of the field, coming down pit lane when it was closed. Stays on the lead lap there, the 96. But we'll start from the back of the field. '11th caution tonight. It means 11th restart tonight with less than 60 laps to go. We'll be looking at 58 when we go green. Scores across the NBA, the NHL, and the NFL at the bottom of your screen. A lot of final scores coming in here as we get past the 10 o'clock hour on the East Coast. Monday Night Football still going on. It's the Dallas Cowboys taking on the Las Vegas Raiders at this point in time. Ready to go back racing for our 11th restart of the night. I'm glad you're with us. What should be a fun finish here in Atlanta. Pace car is in. We are going green at the end of this lap. The green flag flies and away we go. Patrick Oberstadt leads the way. Braille, who shot the gap and stayed with Patrick Oberstadt on that last restart. Got to the front of the field, and here he goes. He's got support from Hunter Peach. Patrick Oberstadt has help from Eli Sasek. Sasek made his move to the front of the field, and here we go. Oberstadt gets clear of Braille, moves down to the inside lane in front of him. Teammates outside lane now. It is Sasek and Brady Smith, the 95. And then you have David Smith Jr., the 54, third in line on the outside. As they race forward here, Cali Height, top 10. Right now, sitting pretty good. Fourth in line on the bottom. Bobby Blowers, 91. He's made his way to the top 10 at the moment. Everyone moving with purpose. We've had 11 cautions so far in this race. Longest green flag run, 22 laps tonight. Can they get a longer run here in stage number 3? Went green on lap 109. If we can get to lap 133, that would be the longest green flag run tonight. We'll see. We'll challenge drivers, see if they can do it. Everyone learning a little bit more about this racetrack. That was a big bobble. That was a huge bobble by KJ Gibney. Not comfortable. Everyone kept it safe. KJ Gibney got loose there. And it is difficult. This is more difficult than Charlotte in terms of setting up the car. Remember, it is open setup here over the next 3 remaining weeks between Charlotte last week, here in Atlanta, Pocono, and then Kentucky. Plate track's a little bit trickier. A lot less power compared to the 670 we get to see at Charlotte and at Kentucky and at Pocono. Less than 550 seen here at Atlanta, at Daytona, and at Talladega. This track is also a lot shorter than Daytona and Talladega. Aerodynamics plays a way bigger part. These cars, more so than at Charlotte, more so than what we'll see at Pocono next week, are lowered to the ground to try to get as much downforce as possible without creating drag. Which is how you do that. You close off the bottom and make it as tight as possible to the bottom of the racetrack. That's why you see so many sparks fly. Caution's out. And it is further back in the running order. Tucker Sawyer is where the caution comes out. 31st. And as we were mentioning before, there he is. Wrong way around. We'll take a look here at what happened with Tucker Sawyer in just a moment. It looks like Sawyer and Markowski are the 2 key figures in this 12th caution tonight. Let's take a look. On board with Sawyer. And he gets help on the way around. It looks like Cody Pinnell's the one that tags him. Take another look here. From the chopper cam. Yeah, Cody Pinell gets right into the back of Tucker Sawyer there. Bounces off the wall, gets in front of Josh Arnold. I think Markowski jumps in late here, if I'm not mistaken. Indeed, that's the case. Yes, Markowski jumps in late. Looks like he jumped off the apron, too. All that happening outside the top 20 for the 12th caution tonight. Sawyer's got some repair work to do, as does Markowski in this exchange. What that does do is that gives the race lead to Cody Pinell, who stays out despite being involved in that caution. Very interesting to see how this plays out. For those wanting updates on Monday Night Football, it is currently in the third quarter. About 9 minutes to go in the third quarter. Dallas leads 24-9 over the Vegas Raiders. And it is a result that is not surprising at the moment. Dallas with a 3-5-1 record. Their tie coming against Green Bay. Vegas, a depleted defense, as things sitting at a record of 2-7. Dallas opened up the scoring pretty big in the second quarter before the halftime break. 21 points in the second quarter alone. But it's been scoreless so far in the third quarter as it approaches halfway completion. Of course, NBA, NHL scores all at the bottom of your screen as well. But you're spending your Monday night with us here. Cody Pinell leads over Richard Odie, Hunter Peach, Callie Height, David Smoot Jr., your top 5. Kalen Height, Dean Clavitt, Chelsea Carter, Patrick Oberstadt, and Jeremy Braille, your top 10. That's Cade McKee, Blake Henderson, Bobby Blowers, Eli Sasek, top 14 out of the top 10. As we get ready to go back racing once again for the 12th restart tonight. 32 cars on the lead lap, all the way down to Josh Susie in 32nd place. Josh Arnold, the first car off the lead lap, 2 laps down as things sit. Elias Flores also 2 laps down. Pacey Wygen's day is done. Same with John Smeal. 5 retirements in this race so far. 34 cars still running. Less than 50 to go here in Atlanta. Green flag flies, and away we go. Bit of damage on the front end of the 8 car is not going to help out a lot. As I was mentioning before that 12th caution with Tucker Sawyer and Dale Markowski in it, aerodynamics is an important part of the Super Speedway package, trying to get this car as sealed to the ground as possible to reduce the amount of drag that these cars produce. The issue is that if you have damage on the front of your car, or really any part of your car, it disrupts that. Cody Pinell's got some damage on the front of that Chevrolet. It's creating like a parachute at the front of the car. And you saw as Peach and Smeal, teammates, just waltzed around the 8 like he was standing still. Despite the fact that Pinell has teammates behind him. He has both Patrick Oberstadt and Dean Clabb, the 81 car, filling in for Matt Vorndren. Had the numbers advantage. But the NFG cars just waltzed to the front of the field. because the damage on the nose of that 8 car increases the drag, makes that car less efficient. In clean air, car below the yellow line, the white line was Caitlin Height, that Hunter Orange 61. And you're seeing, even right now, being third in line, struggling to keep pace, cautions out. 13th time tonight, and this one's a pretty big one. Several cars involved. Again, that is Kissenweather, that is Gibney. Josh Arnold, Riley Garcia. Not sure what that was for. Caution out for the 13th time tonight. Those watching on Twitter, appreciate the live raid. 27 Tattoo. Hopefully you had a good night. 13th caution of the night here in Atlanta. Pretty awkward situation here on this caution, 13th one. It got a little hairy. Caitlin Height went below the white line. I'm not sure if she was forced down there or not. But several cars involved in this 13th yellow. We're pulling up a replay here in just a moment so we can grab a good look as to what happened. It looks like it starts pretty well up the running order. It starts with Blake Henderson here is what we're seeing. We'll see if this plays out the way we think it does. And it does not. It starts behind about where we expected it to start, with Gibney getting spun. So let's focus on him. The officials were a bit rough. Oh, 4 wide. That's exactly why. Caitlin Height trying to rejoin the racetrack. Chris Fleming, very aware of what was happening. Mark Kissenweather unsighted in that middle of that 4 wide situation. There's Zach Apperson. He goes for a little bit of a ride. Olivia Pereira goes for a little bit of a tumble there. So does the 6 of Shad Swatsworth. Zach Meredith gets through there unscathed. Not seeing. Oh, maybe some marker breaks there for Jeremy Braille. On board with the 74. Does he get help? Oh, he 100% gets help. That's the 61 of Caitlin Height. What just happened? All right, so let's go back and see what just happened. That feels very premeditated. We'll let the replay sort of speak the loudest here. Caitlin Height down the apron here, off the nose of the 3 of Bryn Roberts. I'm not sure what happens here. Runs through Chris Fleming. Runs through Blake. Runs through Braille. Wow. Oh, my goodness. That's exactly what happened. Something significant there. So we're going to have a pretty long extended break here. What just happened? Was that some sort of mechanical issue? What happened there? Hopefully we get some explanation as to what happened. That is insane. Several race leaders involved in that as a result. Reports of a technical failure of some kind. That is insane. 13th restart coming up, and everyone's upside down on how this race was expected to go. Hunter Peach is your race leader. Davis Mule Jr. in second. Cody Pennell in third. Eli Sasek in fourth. That part was the benchmark going into that caution. Green flag flies, and now we're in the great unknown. Hearing a technical failure was the cause of the 61's issues there. A bizarre 13th caution. Caitlin Height involved in a massive way there. Caitlin Height back on the racetrack, and there's a caution again. Huge crash once again. This is turn 4. Caitlin Height back on the racetrack, so she was not disqualified, which would lend credence to the idea that it was not intentional, it was a technical failure. Because typically that would... Let's see what this caution is looking like here. 14th caution of the night. You see Caitlin Height actually on the back there, the Dayglow orange car, the Hunter orange car, 61 car is back on the racetrack. Yeah, people kind of saying that Caitlin Height could not see any of the cars around her due to the lag spike, which would explain why she phased through Chris Fleming. So that would make sense. A massive packet loss situation for Caitlin Height on that last caution did affect several cars, Blake Henderson being one of them. Jeremy Brayout, we saw him get spun. Now let's take a look at this 14th caution that has popped up here. Pretty massive crash on its own right here. And it starts up with, that is Dean Clavitt, is who it starts with. And what happens here? This is Clavitt and Josh Susie, it looks like. Clavitt goes for a run. The inside lane checks up pretty massively. That is Pereira checking up and closes the door on Susie going up the racetrack. Not sure why. And that's where Clavitt gets tagged, is because he's trying to get around, and Pereira shoots Susie up the racetrack. Susie gets turned by Fleming, trying to come back down the racetrack. And that's where it gets ugly. And Josh Susie, once again, a great qualifying effort, turns to nothing in the race. And more issues there. That is Baxter, that is Brayout, that is Fleming. Bunch of cars involved in that. And Clavitt, looking at it, not the worst off in that situation. All things be told. The 14th restart of the night, and we have gotten official confirmation that it was a technical failure for Caitlin Height that caused that massive issue on the 13th caution, under caution. It'll be reviewed further, it looks like, after the race in terms of if anything could have been done differently. But no disqualification for Caitlin Height, not deemed malicious or with malicious intent. And unfortunately, that is a part of iRacing. Unfortunately, to some degree, racing, on all accounts, isn't fair. And that is one example of it. Hunter Peach leads the way still over Davis Mule Jr. Teammates 1, 2, and 3. Lily Sharp in third. With the restart coming up here, we have attrition kicking in pretty hard here. Josh Arnold's day is done. He joins the retirement list that is expanded a little bit on this. Dean Clavitt a lap down. Elias Flores a lap down. Caitlin Height also a lap down. It looks like 2 laps down for both Flores and Caitlin Height. Obviously, we talked about Kalen Height having that technical failure that triggered a pretty massive crash on the 13th caution of the race. We're now on caution 14. Chris Fleming confirming that his day is done as we get ready for the 14th restart here tonight. Peach, Smeal, Sharp, Cody Pinnell, Bren Roberts, your top 5. As the retirement list grows to 7. Green flag flies. Away we go. And the teammates, the 20 and the 19, waltz out to a pretty expansive lead. David Smeal Jr., third in line, will be the gatekeeper to the podium. And the Ascent cars, Sasek and Brady Smith, will have very little support for an entire lap. They have to wait for support to get there, and it comes in the way of a 3-wide effort. Kyle Taub thrown 3 wide by his teammate, Mark Kissenweather. Here comes Dustin Hall, trying to rally back to the top 10. Caution is out. And it's Riley Garcia this time. 15th caution of the night, and he has spun out of turn 4. A quick look here. Single car spin out of turn 4. And he's got some crab walking going on. Let's take a look. Riley Garcia. And we do not have a really good look at him. Yeah, oh, that's why. Blinked in and out pretty bad. Caitlin Height was the first to do it. Now it's Riley Garcia, and bounces off the nose of KJ Gibney and pretty hard into the fence. And we talk about some of the situations there with latency and netcode. That is the danger part of it. We saw the inverse where Kaylin couldn't see anybody, but everyone could see her. No one could see Riley on this one. And Gibney having nowhere to go, and Garcia pops back into view and immediately goes for a ride into the wall. And that'll do Riley Garcia in. His race is done here tonight. Live pictures as Garcia sits on pit lane, waiting for the official diagnosis that we've already seen. And that is that the 40 car is done tonight and will go no further here in Atlanta. Have to re-rack and try again. Will ultimately drop to 32nd place. Fourteenth restart coming up here. It is NFG leading 1, 2, and 3 at the moment. Josh Susi, the fourth full-time car for NFG, has not had the success his teammates have had tonight. He's had a couple pretty major incidents here in this race. Susi sits down in 21st place compared to his teammates that are sitting first, second, and third. But he's on the lead lap. A lot of cars getting repair work done. Hunter Peach has picked his lane. Outside lane is where he wants to be on this restart, the 14th one of the night. We'll be going green with exactly 30 laps to go. Peach, Sharp, Pinnell, Smeal, Oberstadt, your top 5. Bryn Roberts in 6th. 2 teams dominating the airways in the top 6 right now. Carolina Beagle Racing and NFG Motorsports. They've been the 2 dominant teams here tonight. Look at laps led here tonight. Hunter Peach has led 16. Willie Sharp's led 7. Cody Pinnell's led 4. Davis Mo Jr. is yet to lead a lap here. Patrick Oberstadt's led 22. Bryn Roberts has led 48 tonight. As we get ready to go back racing for the 14th time. Teammates front row. Green flag flies and away we go. Teammates first, second, and third on the bottom now. Cody Pinnell slots in and breaks up the teammate work. But he's also alone. He doesn't have teammates helping him. And the inside lane prevails massively here on this restart. Top 12, top 15, all single file. Henderson being shuffled a little bit further back. Remember, he's someone who's had a couple of issues tonight as well. Not of his own accord, unfortunately, as is often the case. Odie tried slotting in front of Apperson and almost triggered another big crash. Apperson gave plenty of space, arguably more than he needed to. But Apperson was thinking, not again. And Odie was trying to get in front, trying to stop the bleeding because he's losing spots and losing speed pretty quickly. Less than 30 to go here in Atlanta. The Henderson Graphics 400. Peach, Sharp, Pinnell, your top 3. Peach entered this race outside the top 16 in points. A race win, all but secures a ticket to the playoffs. Willie Sharp in the top 16, but barely, with Love a race win for that security blanket. Likewise, same for Cody Pinnell. A race win would help him out significantly. It'd also be a win at home. Davis Mo Jr., 16th in points. If he continues to race as well as he has, he'll be top 16 in points on his way to the top 12. 3 wide, further back on your screen right now. Callie Height gets around Braille, tries to get around Odie. We have 28 cars on the lead lap. Caitlin Height, the first car off the lead lap, 2 laps down. There's several cars 2 laps down. Height, Flores, and Carter, all 2 laps down, trying to waste their way forward. And they're all at the back. It is single file all the way to Olivia Pereira, 11th place. And that is going to be a struggle to try to overcome here. McKee on the outside lane. Support from Callie Height and Jeremy Braille as they try to move forward. Henderson on the bottom behind Pereira, ahead of Richard Odie. A little bit of latency further back. I believe that is Alfred Denny. It is. Alfred Denny and KJ Gibney. You see Denny black out again. Latency issues have become the talk of the conversation here in Atlanta. Caitlin Height, Riley Garcia, Alfred Denny, all in trouble with latency late here in Atlanta with Alfred Denny. Thankfully, he's at the back of the field. He is not in the conversation at the moment. 28th on the lead lap. And he may have just phased out of the conversation. Front of the field, no such concerns yet, though. Peach leads the way over Sharp and Pinnell. The team game is strong right now. Here's David Smith Jr. getting support. Teammates go to the top side. NFG 1, 2, and 3. But they have opened the floodgates. Peach gets turned off as the nose is sharp. And there they go. Huge crash for the 15th time. Peach turned off the nose of his teammate into traffic and his hope of winning again here in Atlanta is over. Huge crash. Richard Odie hits the wall hard and bounces back into traffic as well. Attrition grabbing the field with both hands at this point. 15th caution tonight. And Hunter Peach, the most devastated of the bunch, turned off the nose of his teammate. An aggressive move to try to get the 3 teammates clear. It backfires badly. Sharp will lead the way. Davis Muir Jr. in second. The last time Lily Sharp led a restart, she was goose-egged immediately by Carolina Beagle Racing. And they're in position to do it again. Cars coming down pit lane. Cody Pinnell ignored the first contact a couple cautions ago. Not ignoring this one. He comes down pit lane. And unfortunately, the devastation continues for Hunter Peach in what has been a bad season. NFG, with 2 teammates out front, are now wounded and are below full strength by a pretty significant degree. And unfortunately for Lily Sharp, she is the least supported teammate of the bunch. What I mean by that, not within NFG. NFG is going to support their teammates no matter what here. Lily Sharp just does not have a lot of friends. We saw that earlier. They abandoned her first opportunity, and they're going to do it again because it's the same group behind her again this time. Hunter Peach, we'll take a look, and we'll kind of back it up here to see how this all came to be. Davis Muir Jr. wanted to help getting clear. And we'll play it in slow motion here. Hunter Peach down in 21st place now. He was leading the race. Smeal wanted help getting clear. As a driver, I don't think I agree with this because the inside lane is so strong and because the teammates for Carolina Beagle were already lined up. I don't really agree with what this call was. You don't want to give the door to Carolina Beagle Racing because they are good at the plate racing stuff. They are renowned at that. So you don't want to give them that door. Smeal gives Sharp a huge bump into turn 3. Sharp carries that forward. Another bump there by Smeal. But Sharp's not lined up with Peach. It's on the left side of that bumper and just spins him right around. Nowhere for Cody Pinnell to go. He's already committed to the bottom of the racetrack. Peach tries to save it. Dustin Hall can't really go anywhere. He's outside 3 wide. He's in a corner. Odie takes a huge shot. Callie Height, not a bad impact up until here. Had it just been the wall contact, Callie Height would have been fine. Dean Clavitt, that is an arc break if I've seen it. Just plows in there pretty aggressively. And his day is effectively done because he had already used his fast repair. He's not the only one that arc break though. We saw that. And Hunter Peach did such a good job for so long today trying to get out front and stay out front. And now he's got to work through this field again, and it's not been easy coming from this far back. Ask Josh Susie. It took a huge crash for him to go from the outside the top 20 to 14th. And he's still on the wrong side of it. That does help out Chelsea Carter, who does get the free pass to go 1 lap down. The green flag flies, and away we go. Lily Sharp gets a giant lead, and that is a devil's restart if I've seen it. Lily Sharp with no support now has to try to block 2 lanes of cars going for the race lead. Less than 20 to go here in Atlanta. Davis Mills Jr. helps out. But remember, Carolina Beagle Racing, they have made the outside lane work before. So have NFG. They did so earlier in this race to get to the race lead. But Carolina Beagle Racing also renowned and good at it. And they've got some heavy hitters up there. Oberstadt, Roberts all up there. Josh Susie up there. Pretty good cars up in that outside lane right now. Cali Heights Day effectively done, looks like here. Still on pit lane, has been on pit lane for about 5 minutes. Garcia's day done. Alfred Denny's day done. We are now down to less than 30 cars in this field. 29 cars still running with less than 20 to go here in Atlanta. NFG leads the way. Lily Sharp looking for her first win on an oval. Her steps going into this race. 1 race win, Daytona Road Course. Many moons ago. 13 top 5s, 27 top 10s, most recently a week ago in Charlotte. Trying to grab a oval race win for the first time in HTL. Has 2 in Avian Champ car on the short ovals, USA and Milwaukee. But has not won on an oval here in HTL. Trying to do so. A hornet's nest of cars behind. And remember, we have 5 races left in the regular season after this. 5 more opportunities to try to grab a race win, to punch a ticket into the playoffs, or boost your position in the playoffs with playoff points. Lily Sharp, 13th in points going into tonight. Outside the top 12 in risk of being bumped with wild cards unless a win tonight. A win tonight or a win at Sebring would be your best opportunities to try to do so. NFG looking strong. They look strong at Charlotte. They're strong again here. Expect them to be strong next week at Pocono and the following week in Kentucky. How many teammates for NFG can grab race wins before the playoffs, knowing you've got limited time, and all 4 of them need wins? Davis Mills Jr. needs a win. Lily Sharp needs a win. Josh Susie would like a win. Hunter Peach desperately needs a win now. Likewise, Carolina Beagle Racing. Bren Roberts would love an extra win. Patrick Oberstadt would love a 3rd. Most of their teams at this point pretty well out of the way. Markowski down in 14th after his struggles. Dean Clavitt racing for the 81 for Matt Vorndren. Vorndren practically is must-win already at this point. Ross Baxter in must-win situation. And it has been tough sledding on the outside lane this restart. It's taken them forever just to get door-to-door with Davis Mills Jr. Oberstadt and Roberts, they are no slouches at plate racing. Again, they finished 1-3 here at Atlanta last season in this very race. They know how to get it done here. But they have just run out of steam. They have run out of, what really has happened is they've run out of cars. I mean, you have a lot more cars running. We've lost about 10 at this point. That extra momentum is very important. You've run out of momentum here. That is Susie 3rd in line ahead of Brady Smith and Dustin Hall 5th in line outside lane. They have separated the top 2 from the rest of the inside lane, though. This is the best chance they've had. Coming to 9 laps to go. And here they go. Oberstadt gets clear. He gets clear and gets to the front, and Susie turns his teammate. Trouble, 16th caution tonight. Susie gets turned in a huge crash behind him. That is everyone third on back. Henderson gets clear. It looks like Braille gets clear as well, but it's slim pickings further back. Huge crash for the 16th caution tonight. Less than 10 laps to go. It was go time, as it often is on the play tracks. Knowing how difficult it has been to pass, the amount of forgiveness you're willing to give drivers comes to a complete halt. And that's what we saw there. Josh Susie got turned and turns David Smoot Jr. as well. That hurts both of them really badly. And David Smoot Jr.'s day is completely done and dusted. It is in the dirt. We'll see if we can take a look here at what happened, trying to find the replay for this caution. And a horrible turn of events. All right. First look from high above, David Smoot Jr., he's going to get turned by his teammate, Josh Susie, and I think Susie gets turned here. And yeah, Kyle Taub drifts up. You see it right there. Kyle Taub drifts up about half a lane, spins Susie around, and this is going to hurt. Hard hit. Ooh. Just ping pong balls between the wall and Brady Smith. Gets Dustin Hall around. Around goes Meredith. That's Cody Pinnell involved in this one. I believe that is Tucker Sawyer involved as well. Klavitz involved. Sassek's involved. Huge crash there. Hard hit there. That's KJ Gibney on the apron. Caitlin Height gets a piece of it. Huge amount of cars here involved in this caution. We'll grab a couple armboards here. On board with Olivia Pereira. Full speed. This is behind KJ Gibney. Pereira lets off immediately shoots the grass, but there's no safe spot here. Avoids going through pit lane, avoids hitting anybody. And Pereira will take that for a ride. Likewise, Hunter Peach with a pretty interesting view on his onboard. Texas native, as two of his teammates bite the dust, he finds new life and closer to the top 10 and almost hits his teammates, almost hits both of them. That was almost a disaster, but he keeps it safe and doesn't tag anybody in that exchange. Pretty wild stuff there. That is David Smoot Jr.'s day done as the retirements continue on. Green flag flies, less than 10 laps to go, coming to 6 laps to go here in Atlanta. Green flag flies, teammates lead the way. And again, we talked about Lily Sharp being a fish out of water without help. There's your example of it. Henderson bailed, Kissenweather bailed, Dustin Hall bailed immediately. And the floodgates are open now, unfortunately, for the 19 car. Backwards she will fall. Apperson stuck in the outside lane, won't have much of a choice but to support the 19. But the damage has unfortunately been done at this point as everyone tries to sprint to the finish here in Atlanta. Oberstadt, Roberts, Kissenweather, Henderson. Gunning for it. here in Atlanta in a race that has had a lot of attrition. 16 cautions tonight. Here comes Clavitt working around the one of Dustin Hall, trying to anyway. Dustin Hall, his car less than 100%, which makes that possible for Dean Clavitt, who got shuffled up into the fence, and around goes Clavitt in front of Lily Sharp. They stay green. Someone else has spun. It's Hunter Peach. And this is further back in the running order. Way further back. This is well behind anything going on between Clavitt and Sharp. This is Peach, Gibney, Baxter, and Flores, all involved further back. This was on the fringe of the top 20 where this all took place. And again, it is Hunter Peach, second caution in a row, where he's gotten a little bit lucky, but it came at a cost. Let's see what happened. Hunter Peach, he's already sideways here on this one. So he's already long sideways. Take a ride on board here with Hunter Peach, behind his teammate Lily Sharp. Clavitt. Ultimately, I think that helped save Clavitt a little bit, because had there been more cars behind Lily Sharp, that would have been pretty nasty. Everyone just kind of blazing through there. On board with KJ Gibney. Behind Brady Smith. Not a whole lot Gibney can do there. He's slowing down. He's slowing up, trying to get around. There's not a whole lot anyone can do on that one. Take a look here. And just Peach. He gets turned by Tucker Sawyer. So the two Texas natives square off here. And that was after Sawyer gave him a pretty nasty shove into turn one. Gives him another one into turn two. Kyle Taub got a pretty nasty piece of it too. Seventeenth caution tonight. Sorry, 16th tonight. A little ahead of myself. 16th tonight. Patrick Oberstadt leads the way over Bryn Roberts and Mark Kissenweather. Blake Henderson in fourth. Getting ready to go back racing here. 3 laps to go, coming to 2 to go. This is overtime here in HTL Cup Series action. We are on lap 167 right now. So what does this look like? So 3 attempts at a green-white checkered finish. This is attempt number 1 at overtime. As we get ready to go racing once again, teammates front row. Henderson and Kissenweather will try to split them up here. We'll see how it plays out. Teammates have been really good tonight. Henderson was on it. He's got help too. He's got teammate behind him, Zach Apperson. Is it gonna be enough? Survey says so far no. Not yet. Kissenweather to third. And just no support for Tombstone at the top lane. Everyone found a way to the bottom, and that's where they're going to sit. Unless they get desperate out of turn 4. We're coming to the white flag. 1 lap to go, presented by Southern Cleaning Company. The race is official. It's whatever happens from here. How desperate do you want to be? All 3 drivers in the front of the field have race wins already. McKee trying to grab a podium. No support for him, though. At least way too late. Henderson gets turned behind. Huge crash coming to the finish. It's behind the race leaders. Oberstadt, a 3-time race winner. He takes Atlanta. In a very familiar podium, Bren Roberts and Mark Kissenweather round out the podium tonight, as they have so many times in the last 2 seasons. They do it again. Zach Meredith, your winner from Charlotte last Monday, finishes top 4, a great recovery for him. And Jeremy Braille, a very much needed top 5 finish for him. Caden McKee filling in for Bailey Thompson, finishes 6th. Chad Swatsworth, Josh Susie, Lily Sharp, and Dustin Hall, they round out your top 10. But it is Patrick Oberstadt, your race winner in Atlanta, his 3rd race win this season. Oberstadt burns it down. Here in Atlanta, winner of the Henderson Graphics 400. Teammates 1st and 2nd tonight. Mark Kissenweather 3rd. And Oberstadt parking it on the start-finish line before resetting that car and clearing the airways and the track space as the track goes quiet here in Atlanta. We'll go over the full running order in just a moment. Stay tuned here in Atlanta for post-race coverage from the Henderson Graphics 400 right after this. Post-race coverage here from Atlanta for the Henderson Graphics 400, race 10 of the HTL Cup Series season. A wild race that saw overtime become necessary to determine a winner. And in the end, it was a very obvious outcome that popped in division. Patrick Oberstadt winning ahead of Bren Roberts, the CBR cars dominating here in Atlanta. Mark Kissenweather finishes on the podium. This combination of drivers on the podium we've seen 7 different times already in HTL. They have put themselves head and shoulders as a cluster above the rest. It's a lot of fun seeing what they can do, especially as the playoffs loom closer. Patrick Oberstadt grabbing some very necessary playoff points for the round of 16 that starts after the new year. full running order on your screen right now. Again, all unofficial. Obviously, a lot of crashing happened on the last lap. So all of this unofficial as they try to figure out positions and all that stuff. But we know the podium's pretty well set. The top 10 pretty well set here on this one. Patrick Oberstadt, Brendan Roberts, Mark Kissenweather, your top 3. Zach Meredith, 4th, ahead of Jeremy Braille. Caden McKee, his 2nd HTL Cup Series race, 1st on an oval. He finishes 6th, filling in for Bailey Thompson. Chad Swatsworth finishes 7th, ahead of Josh Susie. Lily Sharp and Dustin Hall round out your top 10 here in Atlanta. Bobby Blowers, 11th place, ahead of Tucker Sawyer to round out your top 12 there. Olivia Pereira, Zach Apperson, Eli Sasek, Hunter Peach, Chelsea Carter, Dean Clavitt, KJ Gibney, Ross Baxter, Richard Odie, Blake Henderson in 22nd. Devastating for him at home. He was sitting in the top 4 coming to the last restart and ends up 22nd after everything's said and done. Brady Smith, Elias Flores round out your top 24 here tonight. Cody Pennell ends up being the first car off the lead lap here tonight, and he ends up in the 25th position. Kalen Height did not get to finish on lead lap, finished 2 laps down due to the technical failure earlier in stage 3. Ends up 26th tonight. Kyle Taub in 27th. You start looking at some of the retirements here. Dale Markowski, David Smith Jr., Calvi Height, Alfred Denny, Riley Garcia, Chris Fleming, Josh Arnold, Pacey Wygant, John Smeal, all out of this race. Same with Angel Santiago, Byron Jones, and Gary Donaldson. No D&Qs tonight. 39 cars here at Atlanta. Expecting a similar field size for Pocono next Monday. That being said, we do have some podium interviews to get to here tonight. So let's go ahead and take it from the top. Let's take it with Mark Kissenweather, the 3rd place finisher here tonight. Very familiar company on the podium here. Mark, it's you versus CBR. It feels like more often than not. 7th time you've shared the podium with both Patrick and Bren. Walk us through your race, though, chaotic as it was with 16 cautions.
Oh yeah, it was interesting. Just trying to just hang out for the most part, and then I somehow found myself at the front at the end, and I just figured I'd just try to keep all the track position.
Obviously, it worked out there for you. Track position was hard to come by. We saw the inside lane, as we've seen at other play tracks. At Daytona was a good example. Inside lane was the right lane. The outside lane worked on occasion. Open setup. It seemed like it didn't do a whole lot to change that. What was your perspective on that?
Like through the middle, like when it went from sunset to dark, the outside was working for me. And then once it went to nighttime, if you weren't on the bottom, you weren't really going anywhere. And plus, everybody was like drifting up to the wall. They weren't really side drafting as much. Whereas I was trying to stay in that middle seam area to try to keep the side draft on the bottom, but nobody was like with me, so I was like kind of forced to just follow people on the top because they kept drifting up.
Obviously, good results help out a ton here, but you're still looking for race wins to try to pad your playoff point total going into the playoffs once the new year begins. 5 races after this to do so. Pocono next Monday. The car's quick. It's quick no matter what you throw at it. Is there hope that Pocono and Kentucky can give you opportunities to try to grab some of those playoff points and sort of even the playing field at the top?
Yeah, I think Pocono is either going to go one of 2 ways. It's either going to be fuel mileage race at the end, like a lot of these races are, or it's just going to be like tonight where it's just a wreck fest and you don't have to save or worry about anything. You just have to drive it hard every restart.
Well, hopefully it is in between. Hopefully we get some action, but we also get some really good racing in Pocono next week. Similar to what we saw at Charlotte last week, is hopefully a little bit closer to the goal there. That being said, you survive whether or not it's chaos or not. 3rd place here in Atlanta. Before we let you go and let you obviously get ready for the race ahead, now that there's actual prep work to be done, if there's anyone to shout and say thank you to, the floor is yours. Congrats on another podium and keeping it closer with the CBR boys.
Yeah, I'd like to thank Coulter's Cards, Jones, PND.com, Go Times Cards, and Militia Racing Club.
A fantastic job for Mark Kissenweather. Third place tonight in Atlanta. He'll try to do a little bit better and try to grab an extra win in Pocono next Monday. Mark, congratulations, and we'll hopefully talk to you again in an even better spot next week.
All right, thank you.
That was Mark Kissenweather, third place finisher tonight. We'll move on to his two biggest rivals as it's come out this season. We'll start with second place finisher Bryn Roberts tonight. Very familiar feeling, but on the opposite side. Obviously, you grabbed your first race win in HTL at this race last season. This time, though, it is you being the bridesmaid to your teammate Patrick Oberstadt. Second time you've been in this position this season. Walk us through it. Obviously, plate racing, really good for CBR, despite the accidents tonight, taking some of your teammates out of contention. When it mattered most, you and Patrick were there to once again clean up at the end.
Yeah, I'd be lying if I didn't say I wasn't a little bummed out. Obviously, I'm a little selfish. I would have liked it to have been reversed, but to get a team win here at a place that is so volatile throughout the field, and to kind of pay it back to Pat after last year, he pushed me to a win here last year. So to pay it back to him, second year in a row that I've been at Atlanta subbing in Steven's car. I was kind of hoping that same result would happen, but I'll take a second with the CBR one.
Obviously, teamwork is making the dream work here with CBR. Obviously, Carolina Beagle Racing as a whole dominating the sphere at the moment, almost a 50% win rate this season. Obviously, it's been a little bit of a dry stretch across the last couple races. Getting back in winning ways here obviously helps out a ton here. However, playoff points become a factor. Patrick's packed up a few. Pocono and Kentucky. We know those are open setup races coming forward. Again, is there hope to try to grab some more of those points before the playoffs begin? Where's the mindset at, or is it still focused on trying to get more teammates in the playoffs?
I mean, I think the focus is always going to be getting more teammates in the playoffs. Obviously, the playoff points thing is looming in the back of my mind. At least the next 2 weeks with the open sets, I don't expect to be in contention. Last week at Charlotte, I wasn't in contention, so I'm hoping that the next 2 weeks are the last open set races. I don't know what's going to happen, but if it's not, I'll adapt. We will adapt as a team and then see where it goes from there. But yeah, playoff points, I'm happy with what I've got, and I'm glad CBR has a lot of them.
A fantastic job here. As we mentioned, Pocono next Monday, and then Kentucky coming up after that, as far as the open races that we know are confirmed go. Before we let you go and let you obviously celebrate the podium with the team and obviously get ready for next week's race at Pocono, now that there is a lot of work that needs to be done between now and next Monday, if there's anyone to shout out and say thank you to, the floor is yours. Congrats on yet again another podium. Again, CBR has dominated the season here, regardless of if it's been open set or not.
Yeah, obviously, thanks to my teammates. Thanks, Stephen, for giving me the opportunity, both last year and this year. And then, most importantly, thank you to you. I haven't had the opportunity to say to you since the announcement. Really appreciate what you've done for this section of the iRacing community. Obviously, you brought me into ARCs with Indy ARCs back in 2022, and you've given me the opportunity to know a lot of people that I consider to be great people. So thank you to you and all the communities that you've brought together.
I greatly appreciate it, Bryn. Thank you so much. And again, congratulations for the second place finish, a 1-2 again for Carolina Beagle Racing. Bryn Roberts, second place. And again, staying top 3 in the championship points, leaving Atlanta towards Pocono next Monday. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And we will move right on along to Patrick Oberstadt, race winner here tonight, here in Atlanta. A fantastic drive, dominant performance for CBR as a whole. Most laps led belonging to CBR. Patrick, walk us through it. We know plate racing's your forte. Doesn't matter if it's Daytona, Talladega, or Atlanta. 88 cars victorious here.
Yeah, it felt good. The setup was really good, and good to have some very solid teammates. And it first started not the best. I was involved in the first wreck and clawed my way up back, and then the connection issue with Caitlin, which wasn't her fault, but that made me use my fast repair, so I was kind of on thin ice, but I still kept it in it and tried to win. But yeah, towards the end, I gotta thank Bren for just staying with me and just pushing me to the win.
Obviously, this works out to be huge for you. Your third win this season puts you head and shoulders above the rest of the field in terms of the playoff points going into the round of 16 here. Open sets looked like it was going to change things up on the race of Charlotte last week. It did to a degree. Here at Atlanta, business as usual for CBR. Does bode well for the team. Last race of the regular season is Daytona. What is sort of the vibe for you? Obviously, Bren Roberts saying he doesn't feel quite as comfortable on the open set as he did on the fixed set. You've grabbed wins on both. You're the only driver so far that's grabbed wins on both. What is your feeling going into the remaining 2 races on the open set strategy? And do you feel like this is momentum that you can really carry through the month of December?
Yeah, I don't know yet quite yet with open setups. We've just run 2 races so far. I know the first week was not a fun time, but obviously this week was good because we had a good setup. And if I remember correctly, last week I wrecked out. So yeah, I'm not too sure on it quite yet, but it feels good. The racing's fun. Really splits up the pack. And if we keep doing this, we gotta just practice more and get some more solid setups.
Obviously, that is the game plan here, but you enter right now with the best advantage of the bunch. 3 race wins, all the playoff points in the world here, some stage wins as well to help out across this season, too. With Pocono coming up and then Kentucky after that, it's going to be a wild month of November, and we're excited to be here for it. Before we let you go and let you celebrate your race win, though, your third one of the season, if there's anyone you shout and say thank you to, the floor is yours. You, Mark, and Bren, it's 3 of a company here in HTL so far.
Yeah, just first off, I want to thank you for obviously putting the show on and showing us so my family could see. Thank my girlfriend watching at home and my brother first always that got me into this, and all my teammates, Bren, Jeremy, Dale, Ross, all of them, Dean, and then Cody. I'm thankful to all of them, and then my painter, David Smale.
Fantastic job for Patrick Oberstadt. 3rd race win this season, on a roll with maximum stage points going into Pocono here in 7 days' time. I said stage points, playoff points after those 3 wins. But again, congratulations, Patrick, on your 3rd race win of the season. Hopefully, more to come here across the rest of the regular season and into the playoffs in 2026. Congratulations, and we'll hopefully talk to you again next Monday.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good night.
That was Patrick Oberstadt, your race winner here tonight. Thankful for all 3 of them to be able to take the time to talk to us here tonight. Again, run through the top 12 as they sit here in Atlanta. Patrick Oberstadt, Bren Roberts, Mark Kissenweather, your top 3. 7th time they've shared the podium together in HTL competition. Pretty good company. Zach Meredith, 4th place, backing up his race win from Charlotte a week ago with a 4th place here in Atlanta. He is on a roll here in November. Jeremy Brayall, the top 5, a good run for him as well. We knew he was going to be good if he could stay out of trouble. Even with a little bit of trouble, he finished top 5. Cade McKee, the super sub for Bailey Thompson, 6th place. Ahead of Shad Swatsworth, Josh Susie, Billy Sharp, and Dustin Hall, your top 10. HTL is the only place we're broadcasting this wintertime ladder live here on Twitch. Next coming races are on your screen. Pocono next Monday. Then it is Kentucky Speedway, ABN's home playground, December 1st. Sebring makes its debut in HTL competition on December 8th. And then it's Bristol and Daytona, the Firecracker 400, on December 22nd to end off the regular season. It is full sprint to the end of the regular season and to the HTL Cup playoffs. We're glad you're with us. We're glad you joined us here tonight for a fun Monday night of racing. Join us again next Monday in Long Pond, Pennsylvania for the Pocono 350. On behalf of everyone here for HTL, the Cup Series, Henderson Graphics, Southern Cleaning Company, and all of its partners, and everyone here at ABN Studios, I'm Carmen Sienna. Thank you so much. Stay safe. Stay healthy. We'll see you in Pennsylvania in 7 days' time. So long, everybody.